It's that time again. The annual conference of the American Society of Ag Consultants, otherwise known as ASAC, is going to be held in Fort Myers, Florida, this November 4th and 5th. Kurt Covington is one of 9 professionals who will address the conference. The other speakers who will cover a wide range of topics represent Florida Farm Bureau, Florida Citrus Commission, University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, National Ag Law Center, Risk Mitigators and Advisors, Tyler Associates, as well as the lead economist for dairy at CoBank, and myself, Chrissy Wozniak from North American Ag. The day and a half of presentations will be followed by ag tours on Tuesday afternoon at Echo Farms, one of my favorite places here in Fort Myers. Attendees will experience farming at its most creative, with unique demonstrations, plants, and techniques being used to help farmers and urban gardeners in developing countries. A second tour at Echo will showcase simple technologies that can improve food, water, and shelter for millions of people. A third tour of a hydroponic grower is also being planned. For more information and to register, visit www.agconsultants.org. That's www.agconsultants.org. See you there. Spotlight. I'm Chrissy Wozniak. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with an entrepreneur, trainer, horseman, and inventor. He runs Easy Animal Products, a family-owned business with his wife, Karen, and their son, John. The Utterly Easy and the Ultimate Easy Milkers have helped goat, sheep, cattle, and horse farmers with colostrum collection across North America. From beautiful Lexington, Kentucky, I would like to welcome Buck Wheeler. Welcome, Buck, and thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Well, good afternoon, Chrissy. It's really a pleasure to be joining you today.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you. And so let's start out with your background. Where did you come from?
Well, I was born and raised on a Sioux Indian reservation on many thousands of acres in Sioux County in North Dakota, Solon, North Dakota. I was born in 1941. And so growing up on the ranch there, and it was humongous, all we did was work, work, work. If something broke, we had to fix it. If you couldn't fix it, you just made a new one. Fortunately, I was fortunate enough to have master carpenters and people around me, my uncle, my grandfather, my dad. And of course, that always got me in a lot of trouble because I was so inquisitive all the time. If something, Dad would buy a new piece of machinery, and he'd come home and I'd have it torn out.
Wow.
And that didn't go over very well because obviously as a kid, I always had a few parts left over. But that always had piqued my interest. And fast forward, we sold the ranch in 1958 and moved out to the West Coast. And then after I graduated from high school, I went to college for a little bit and then enlisted in the United States Army. And I was in the Airborne Special Ops as a combat medic for 6 years.
Wow.
So because of the outfit that I was in, each man had to learn the other man's MOS or military occupational specialty. And mine happened to be in the medical field. So I learned just enough. I was in OB, surgery, orthopedics. So if something happened, we were able to do it as we had to learn each other's skills. I just learned enough to be dangerous. Let's put it that way. And I never got any paper that said I knew anything. So getting out, I went to I worked for a while as an orthopedic technician in Portland, Oregon, in Good Samaritan Hospital. And then the Call of the Horse called me back. And of course, the rest is history.
That's
so I took out my first trainer's license in 1996. And here we are today. Basically, and fast forwarding quite a few years, I would always keep an eye on if something wasn't working right in my training profession, I tried to improve it. So I came out with the Stableizer first. I have a couple of patents over here on my office wall, and it goes over the head, and we'll probably get into that in another session, but it causes the brain to release endorphins. And the horse just starts mellowing out within a few minutes.
Right. It's like a twitch, right?
I'm sorry?
It's like a twitch?
Yes. It's like a twitch, only it's much better because it hits the three major acupressure points here, here, and here.
Wow.
And it's also known kind of as like the sleeper hold or the wrestling hold. And it's what we can subdue a person with instantaneously. So,
wow.
So it went from there. Later on in my career as training and everything, of course, I started having horses got into the breeding operation, and we started pulling milk from our thoroughbred mares. And it was rather dangerous because till I came out with the milker, we were using a 60 cc syringe. We cut the end off where the needle goes on, pull out the plunger and aspirate it backwards. So that's how we were retrieving the colostrum from those mares. And it's maiden mares and a lot of mares, it's very dangerous also because you can get your guard kicked off very quickly. So that's how the Stableizer came out, and I invented that because it calms them down while I'm doing on the other end. And so basically, I just kind of did it for myself, but this thing got legs. The next thing we're on camels, goats, sheep, horses, water buffalo worldwide.
Wow.
And so it kind of it progressed from there, let's put it that way.
Wow. So your milkers, they are for colostrum collection primarily on these farms. But why is colostrum collection so important in the early hours of a newborn animal's life?
Well, colostrum is mother's milk, as we call it. It is no different from the human to the animal, regardless of what they are. Basically, what happens is, and a best case scenario that I can relate to you, it's like if we brought a mare down here, and I used to live in Minnesota. So we'd ship a mare down 30 to 45 days before foaling, if we were going to foal them in Kentucky. And so while they're there, they're building up the antibodies of any diseases that might be prevalent within that area. So basically, when the animal foals, kids, calves, whatever they're having, that baby is born with the antibodies to be able to, get after it right away to any outside antigens that might be, prevalent within the area. So basically, like with our thoroughbred foals, as soon as that mare foals, and I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them over the years, we go ahead and take the easy, and just basically it's so simple. I designed everything on here. First, when I first brought it out, we didn't even have the inflation, and I designed this so it has a pave cut so it fits the bag. And we had two sizes, small and medium. But we found out early on that if we got the teat in there a little crooked because of the vacuum, it would pull the colostrum inside of the pump. So then we added the silicone inflations. Now this is the blue, and we actually have three sizes. So you can see
okay.
the small, medium, and large. And I color coded them because we got a lot of young kids using this. And then of course, later on, we'll get into the electric milker. But so this was to pull colostrum to start with. Now we have probably shipped in excess of over 200 and some thousand of these worldwide. We know we're in over 70 countries.
Really?
And they're using them to milk the animals with too. Because a lot of cases in the third world country, and the other thing is when you pull that milk out of that teat on whatever animal you're using or you're working on, there's no hair, there's no dirt, there's no manure. It's as clean as you're going to get it. And then we also, once you've got the bottle full of colostrum milk and dump it out, we designed all these. They're specially made. You can freeze in them. I put a little line there, don't fill above that, because colostrum is good for over a year frozen.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people don't know that. The first thing the modern folks want to do is stick it in the microwave. Don't do that because it kills all the antibodies. So do it, either let it sit there, leave it sit there and let it thaw out on its own, or just stick it in some warm water. And I forgot to bring it in with me, but we have a nipple that goes with the box. And for the horses, this is the horse box. And in actuality, it's the same milker in all the boxes. We just back them a little differently. As an example, here's the goat box and the cow boxes. They have quart bottles in them, so they're a little bit larger.
Okay, so just different size bottles.
Yeah, an 18-ounce bottle and an 8-ounce bottle. And so in a little bit, I'll open one of them up so I can show your folks exactly what's in them.
Yeah, that's great. So you also have the electric milker as well?
Yes, we do. It milks. Here's what happened. After we came out with the hand milker, people kept bugging me and said, "Well, Buck, do you have anything so we could milk 2 teats at once?" I mean, it works fine, but it'll take you half an hour to milk the cow because you're only doing 1 teat at a time. And usually, you got the quart bottle on, you've got to dump it out, go back and finish your project. So the next thing I came out with was the electric motor. And then we were milking 2 teats at once. We had 2 bottles on it. Well, then they wanted to know if we could milk all 4. It was just evolving into something what it is today. And so we went ahead, I put a splitter on there. So now we got 4 bottles hanging down off the cow's teats, if you're milking a cow. Or you could milk 2 goats and 2 sheep at the same time. And well, then they didn't. Well, Buck, you get a bigger container because I don't like stopping and having to dump it, and it's still taking too long. So I designed a 2.6 gallon stainless steel milker, and that has been a tremendous hit. But guess what? Buck, we got now it works fine on the little jerseys, the mini jerseys, and Dexters and things like that. But the ones with the Holsteins and the Brown Swiss crosses or whatever, they're given over 2.5 gallons. So now we have the 5 gallon also.
Wow. Yeah, so you really are evolving. Wow.
So that's what we have evolved to from this little puppy. And this came out in 2004. So, and I have to be, it was very humbling experience this year. We attended the American Equine Practitioners Convention, which was held this year in Nashville, Tennessee, around the 1st of December. And after 17 years, we were just put into this 800-page textbook for all veterinary students, veterinarians, and professionals.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
And it took 17 years to get there, but we're on page 400 in here out of the 800-page text.
Oh, that is so cool. So,
and it says we can contact us right here in Lexington, Kentucky. But, and the other thing, so that 2 of the products that I've invented now out of sheer necessity, like I was born and raised with. And the other one is a Stableizer that has was put out by a top acupuncturist and veterinarian worldwide. And so Dr. Marvin came, and so he goes through and expresses just exactly how this works on the 3 major acupressure points that a horse has. So once you put that on him, that within 3 minutes, the head starts dropping down, the bottom lip will drop, eye softens up, and you're good to go to work.
Right. And that's so important with collecting colostrum, because you don't want to be putting sedatives in them, right? As you're milking. Was that kind of the?
Well, yeah, not only that, but the other thing is too, we're right here in God's gift. Of course, Florida says they're the horse capital of the world, but they have to argue with them because we got the greatest farms here ever. And my products are all on all these farms, and they've asked me to come out and instruct their help and everything, And I absolutely will not go in there. I tell them up front, I don't care what that mare's worth. I'm not going in there, and they all know who I am by this point, and there's no argument. But I put the stabilizer on that mare first. It's just a safety factor.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. And you said about freezing them in the bottles. Do you recommend these farms have colostrum freezed in storage for emergencies as well? If something happens to the mare?
Yes, down here they all do. And if some of your clients don't know or followers don't know it, but this is an 18-ounce bottle, but a pint of colostrum costs about $180.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the big vets down here, like Root and Riddle and some of the larger vet clinics, they go ahead and store it and they sell it, But so they've been able to go ahead, pull, store, and utilize their own colostrum bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. And how long does it take to fill the bottle?
With the hand milker here, it'll probably take maybe 3-4 minutes, Mm-hmm. Now our 8-ounce bottles is what we normally pull with the first pull. That's 160 cc's. And we give that to the foal before it ever gets up. Okay. I mean, we check its airway and iodine enable immediately. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes, like the mares that I've had 2 or 3 years, they know what this program is before they've even gotten up. They're laying down, and I just put the hand milker down there and go ahead and pull up 8 ounces.
Oh, wow.
And get into that baby immediately. So, and then they'll get up. I'll give them I'll go pull another amount, maybe 8 or 18 ounces, and get down the foal again. And usually it's always between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, Mm-hmm. Then you can just go in and go to bed because everything's cool.
Wow. And that's a great idea. I've never heard of doing it that way, not waiting for them to stand up and go find the udder themselves. You just get it done right away. That's pretty cool.
Well, we've had so many, I've got endorsement after endorsement, and I've instructed at 5 of the largest veterinary hospitals in the country here. Wow. From Colorado State to the University of Minnesota, several of them. The university mm-hmm. over here in Lexington, we were out at the sheep unit there, and they did a specific one, and they had a big clinic about how to pull the colostrum and get it into those. But the sooner you get it into those babies, mm-hmm. the better. Yeah. And one of the biggest disbeliefs, people will tell you, some from old school, oh, don't bother that foal because, boy, that mother, she's not going to, she'll disown it, all this. Furthest thing from the truth. Furthest thing from the truth. And getting back to your question, there's nothing more infectious than at foaling time or calving or lambing or whatever. Because think about this. If you just go back and your people that watch your blog and everything, they can relate to this. That little baby gets up, it don't know, get them up from sigging, mm-hmm. and it's in there nosing around. Well, all that from the afterbirth and everything is all down and probably manure that mare's been laying down. She hasn't been scrubbed down or anything else. And by the way, we've always washed the udders mm-hmm. and cleaned them off really well before that baby nurses. But it's in there nosing around. I personally lost foals years ago because I was just as naive as everybody else. And what happened, they thought that, they just didn't know why that baby died. Right. Well, navel ill is one of them, but also they have what they call NI, or neonatal isophthalmosis. And that's where you breed a mare to a stallion and their genetic DNA just does not match. That mare, the baby's born perfectly normal. It don't dare nurse that mare until she's past sometimes it takes up to 32 hours, sometimes 36. Normally it's about 28 until she's passed all the colostrum and her milk comes in. That's why it's so important to have a colostrum bank stored.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And How easy is it to use? Like people with arthritis, can they also use it?
I'm sorry.
People with arthritis, can they also use like to squeeze the milker?
Yes, it doesn't take very much. It's a very light pull, and it sets up the vacuum, and so it'll work with this on, but it'll be quicker with this. So I'll just kind of show your followers. So basically, and this year alone, I added another. I probably have $280,000 just in mold cost.
Wow.
So we put two little bitty square tubes right here, or square blocks right below this little round thing. And it kept, so when the pump clips in there, it used to be able to tip or oscillate. So if the animal moved or you pulled back a little bit, and that's what releases it, when that comes back, it don't take much and it releases it. So I'll show your folks, that builds up the vacuum, and there it is. I'll tip down a little bit. So when I get ready to release it, see, it's there.
Yeah.
I just simply push that bottle back a very little bit, and that releases the vacuum and just drops right off the teeth.
Wow. You thought of everything. That's amazing. And so it's obviously, like you said, it's not just for colostrum. And so who else is using the product? Are you selling to, small hobby farmers, Mennonites, Hutterites?
Well, very good question. It's been incredible. There's certain different aspects of this. Actually, the Mennonite and the Amish communities have adopted me.
Wow.
Especially, they started with this and not with our electric milker. And we got 8 and 9-year-old kids using our electric milker.
Wow.
And let me tell you, everything is made here in the USA. Our manufacturing is our manufacturing building is out of Humboldt, Iowa. And my headquarters is here, and I do a lot of the research and development here in Lexington on it. And but probably over 100,000 people, they got my cell phone number, and I get a kick out of it. They've seen some of my videos on YouTube and everything, so they'll call up and they can't believe they're talking to the owner.
Right.
But if it's broke or something, we'll fix it, or we'll get to the bottom why it's not working. And there again, I'm probably no different. I think I can fix anything, So I'll get something pretty soon. I'll start looking for those directions.
Yeah.
Because it didn't fit right, But so it's been a real blessing on the long run and everything. But if it breaks, and we've got a 2-year warranty, like on our electric pump, we've had the same pumps out there on those electric ones. Now we've been doing this over 12 years. And we've never had to replace a pump yet, except for the people that ran milk back into the pump because they weren't paying attention.
Oh, right.
And it's costly to replace the motor. This little thing we've had, in fact, I had a lady send me back one. She'd used it for 8 years. So there's a couple little things that need to replace once in a while. That little red valve right in there, it's called an umbrella valve. And so as soon as I plug this hole up here, see, it won't pump.
Oh, yeah.
So if you plug this hole here and it pumps, then you need to change this valve. And we've had some people break handles. We redesigned those. We've had people break some of the clips here that hold this on. We redesigned that this last year. We've changed and upgraded the molecular hookup or consistency of the plastics.
Okay.
So this is one of the very strongest plastics that we can get out of a mold. It's just, and same with the bottles. I can drop this right on a concrete floor and it's not going to break.
Wow. And
also you can freeze in them. So some people just go ahead and put them in the baggies sometimes. But you can freeze in the bottles also.
Very good. And I heard something with the whole Yellowstone craze on these days. An interesting fact is you actually know somebody from the 4-6s ranch, right?
Yes, I personally know somebody from the Four
Yeah.
Sixes, Dr. Glenn Blodgett. And Dr. Blodgett is on one of my videos. He's standing beside the red 4-6s pickup with the 4-6s on it. And another great one on there is when we did that, we shot that video when we used to go down to the big horse sale there every September and January at Oklahoma City at Heritage Place Sales. And so Dr. Joe Noble's on there also. So we did the Stableizer with him and the milker. So
that's great. That's cool. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But that was so many people have called, and it's really it's just kind of a kick to be able to say that.
Yeah, definitely. And your website is full of so many cool products like small pasteurizers, butter churns. So can you explain some of those other products that you offer?
Yes, our butter churn, I don't know, we ordered those 50 at a time. And people see them, and once they've used them, they got to tell all their neighbors about them. Mm-hmm. It holds 4 gallons. We specifically send the instructions along when you put your cream in there. And to give you an example, when we still had our little cow patty cake, so every morning she'd have 2 to 3 inches of cream on top of that milk. So we just skim it off. And so we're going to make butter one day. Well, we use our food process. Our big, what do you call it? That you make.
Mixer?
Pardon me?
The mixer?
Yeah. And we had butter all over the kitchen. So anyway, I met this guy back in Pennsylvania, and I found out where we could source these at. It has a stain. The buckets are made especially. It's a square food grade plastic bucket, and it has a recess at the bottom of the spindle. It's a stainless steel spindle that it fits into it, and the lid locks on, and you put your little battery drill up on top of it.
Oh, wow.
In 9 minutes, you got butter.
No way. That fast. That's really cool.
And as a kid on a res back there, I grew up hours I spent on that old glass one with the wooden paddles on it. So I just couldn't believe what I was looking at when I saw this thing. It was
I guess that. So who uses those products, the churner and the pasteurizers?
Yeah. And we kind of hit our own, there was a small niche out there everywhere for the person that has the one cow. We got as many as 20 cows. This veterinarian in Wyoming, his wife's milking the cows, and they have some on the shelf. They're using our electric milkers on that. And he's also using it on he's got about 350 head of range cattle. And so obviously some of those first calf heifers and stuff, they've got mastitis, and the cows with the bigger teats, those baby calves won't go back and they can't nurse on them. So now they got mastitis. So they got to put them in the chutes. So we got this tremendous article. One of my prolific writers, Heather Smith Thomas, that has authored more than 23 books, and she writes a lot for veterinary magazines and everything. She did the story on it, and he describes in there, and we have the only milker in the world on this electric milker. It does not pulsate. But I figured this out when I started putting it together, and the reason why is because the strongest pulsation in a body, human or animal, is at heart. So he put a test, and I told him what I had done. So we interviewed him for the article. He did the same thing. Well, every time that heart beats, and I have close-ups, that milk's going, you can see it go into the tubes. So he put a stethoscope on their bag and also on their behind their leg on their heart. Same thing. But every time that heart beats, it's driving that. And he explains totally in there. And somebody can go to my website, and I think I'll have it on there. They can read the article. But what happens is it's just like a calf sucking. or nursing on the cow. It can't continually do it. It has to take a breath to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just how this works. So people used to say, well, steady vacuum, and if you put too much vacuum, that's going to cause mastitis or ruin. We haven't had one case of that in 12 years.
Wow.
In fact, this article tells how he's curing the mastitis because this machine's got enough vacuum, it'll suck those clogs and stuff right out of there and get them back to normal.
Right. Oh, that's really cool. And so thinking a little broader now, what are you seeing in agriculture, in the industry as we come into 2022 in terms of opportunities that producers should be taking advantage of or challenges they should be aware of? What are you seeing?
Well, especially with the advent of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
this has caused tremendous havoc on many, many businesses, livelihoods. It's affected the farming community profusely. And so the area that I mentioned previously, we hit that niche. There were so many people going back to their roots. And then we had the supply problem, They can't, and still I can go to one of my local grocery stores, which is Myers here, or even Kroger, and you see a lot of shelves that are just not fully stocked like they've always been.
Right. Yeah.
But some of them are just completely out of stuff, So people have tried to go back to their roots, and a lot of places now they're okay, so people can have goats in their backyard, and they're picking goats up. So that has probably tripled our business. But
wow. Yeah, for sure. So how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in your products?
Well, if you go in and Google us, we're going to come up one or two. You can go to www.utterlyeasy.com or info@utterlyeasy.com. And our emails, also my personal one is buckwheeler01@gmail.com. And you can go to Easy Animal Products or easyanimalproducts.com. So they're just
lots of ways.
Several ways to get a hold of us. Our 800 number is 287-4791. And I might as well add 2,000 to it. My cell phone, my personal phone is 507-213-2126.
That's awesome. So no excuse. Anybody can get a hold of you for sure. There's lots of ways. That's great.
And the other thing is too, we back up our products. If this thing doesn't work for you, 30 days, send it back. We're not going to repay the shipping, but so we have warranties on everything. A 2-year warranty on our pump. We haven't, other than the fact that the people that ran milk into and ruin the motors, that's not covered by any warranty. That's just, not.
Can people order online as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They can order direct. I think we're one of the few people that have came up with something. We're in a unique situation. Let's put it that way. Our dealers and distributors, if they go on our website, go to foreign distributors, you can see a list, and we've got 3 or 4 we don't even have up there yet. Mm-hmm. And but you can order online. But in the situation, in the unique situation that we're in, having invented the product, we manufacture the product, and we sell the product. So all my dealers and stuff, they all know that we sell online. If they want to sell for a few bucks less or whatever, they can go ahead and do that as long as it's not ridiculous,
Right.
And but we've been here. We started the business in 1995, an incorporated family-owned corporation, and I incorporated in 1998. So it's we're all over the place, but it's just amazing because 2-3 times a week. Well, I didn't even know this thing existed.
Mm-hmm. So, well, and in Canada, your distributor is PV Mart, the company that used to be Tractor Supply in Canada. Just for our Canadian listeners, that's where they can pick it up, right?
Yes. Well, just this year, I went ahead and we were down doing a clinic at not horsepower days. Well, the first one that came over here was at the horse park, and my wife and I just went because we didn't have to travel. It was 8 miles from here. So we went over to the horse park, and Equitana USA.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call it. It used to be they'd come over from Germany. We did that first one, and that was in a long time ago when they first came over, and it was at Louisville that year. Yeah, or let's see, that was 1996 because that's the first year that our Stableizer was used on one of the first of 2 Kentucky Derby winners.
Wow.
So I was over there doing the clinic. And so it's been a long, but I can't tell you how many miles we've been demonstrating this thing. I went to horse sales trying to get myself killed loading horses that never seen a horse trailer, but yeah. We're still here. So that's the great thing about it.
That's great. So I have one more question for you. Why are you so passionate about the industry, and why do you serve the industry?
I think it reverts back to my youth because we've seen so many changes in the last just couple of years, 2-3 years alone. I was raised with, you met a lady, you took off your hat, and you said, "Good afternoon, ma'am," or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. "Yes, sir." "No, sir." "Thank you." "You're welcome." Just little basics like that. And if anybody was in need of any help, you helped them. There was always an empty table at our house if somebody came by, regardless, mom and dad had them in and everything. And I think part of it is that over this timing, and I just, turned 81 January 1st. Mm-hmm. And
happy birthday.
So you just don't see that so much anymore in small isolated cases. But our youth nowadays, they've just lost so much respect, and they all know how to run one of these real well. Mm-hmm. But common sense does not prevail in a lot of cases.
Not so common anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just I felt that need to be able to help people.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing more honorable than that. Well, that's good. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate talking to you. It's great learning about your products and about what you offer the world.
Well, Chrissy, thank you very much. It's been a total pleasure. And thank you for your time also.
Yes. And thanks to all who are watching or listening. If you want to learn more, all of the links will be provided in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe to North American Ag Spotlight, YouTube, Rumble, or AgFuse channels. And the podcast is available on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And have a great day. Thanks so much for listening to today's Ag Spotlight episode, where we put the spotlight on people and companies doing great things for the agricultural industry. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Stitcher, or on your favorite podcasting platform, and give us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on YouTube and Rumble to see the video version of Ag Spotlight. Also, head on over to NorthAmericanAg.com to subscribe to our Industry Connect update newsletter. If you're interested in advertising opportunities, email us at connect@NorthAmericanAg.com. Thanks for listening. Our newest podcast by North American Ag is called What Color is Your Tractor? The stories behind the ag brands you love and the ag brands you love to hate. Hosted by me, Chrissy Wozniak. We take a deep dive into the companies that have built modern agriculture. Subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform. Go to whatcolorisyourtractor.com. Available on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts.